Hey everybody, welcome to the stream. I'm Gizmo. Got my buddy Pikachu here. I got my beverage. Welcome to the stream. Hope you're having a great day. We're talking Fallout Friday. Of course, it's on a Saturday. Okay, it's Fallout Friday plus plus. Okay, plus plus is a C++ programming language syntax that says add one, actually C as well, to add one to the current variable. So if you have a variable A, you go A++, then it adds one to the variable. So if it goes from 3 to 4. You got it? Okay, so today's Friday plus plus. So it's Fallout Friday plus plus. Work with me here, okay? Anyway, sorry. It's been a day already, but cheers. I've got my I Am Special t-shirt for my Fallout stuff. Today we're going to be talking about Fallout 76. Make sure this is working. Doesn't seem to be. What's going on? All right, hold on a second. Elgato microphone. Oh, well, I'm frozen. That's a problem. Okay, hold on here. Let's try this again. Hopefully this is all working. This is working here. Sounds like it might be. There we go. Okay, so it is working. All right, great. I just wanted to make sure because I wasn't hearing nothing, and that wasn't going to be very good for you guys, and I'd just be talking into blank space, so that wouldn't help you at all. Anyway, today we're going to talk about Fallout 76. I'm going to be playing a little bit of Fallout while we're doing this, but what I've got here is the situation is that it has been 5 weeks since E3. And we still don't have enough information about what's going on with Fallout 76. We've had a couple of things. There's one tweet this morning. Let me just check it out here real quick. Find out. Oh, no, I've already closed it. Crap. There's one tweet, a series of tweets from one of the guys. All right, hold on. There was a tweet from Price about some stuff. I'll actually put a link to it up there. We'll do a little card to the video. But he talks about sort of the camp system. And because one of the questions, is okay, is what's going on with camping? How do we, what are the size of the builds and that kind of stuff? And who was it? Holland, during the convention, during the E3, talked about how killing me, Smalls. Talked about how the camps that we see that are in the settlements, the bases that we see inside the game are about the same size that we're going to see in the final game. But according to the tweets, that hasn't been decided yet. So he misspoke a little bit, and it was kind of one of those, well, how can we kind of get... All right, what is going on here? Hold on. I got to figure out where I'm going. I apologize. Here we go. All right, yeah. Okay, that's what I needed to do. Oh, my lords. Okay. All right. And I'm, of course, way over encumbered. I took my power armor off because I didn't want to be running around with it, but I am way over encumbered. So, anyway. Yeah, all right, I'm going to go back and get my power armor. Okay. But they're talking about all these different things. Let me see if I can bring up those tweets here real quick. I'm just going to turn this off for a second. I'm just trying to remember who it was who posted it. I apologize for the typing in your ear here. Hold on a second here. Yes, that's what I want. Okay. No. But it's actually a real... Here it is, Juicehead. So Juicehead actually is the one who did it. And I will post a... like I said, I'll post a link to their video when I get it. But there's definitely some new stuff with some good things that kind of came out. Hey, thank you for the follow, Stitch. That's awesome. Thank you so much. Now just hold on a second here. I'm looking for it. Yeah, Todd Howard. Todd Howard was wrong. All right, so yeah, here in essence, what happened was that there was a series of tweets between people talking to Price, who I believe is Tom Price, maybe. Hold on a second. Let me just look in here. Chip the zero. Okay, hold on. I'm working on it. I promise. All right. DC Deacon. Come on, where's your response? There it is. Pete Hines. I apologize. Pete Hines. So, yeah, so there was a whole thing with a bunch of responses. People were tweeting at Pete Hines, trying to get him to answer some of the questions about Fallout 76. Because, again, it's been 5 weeks since E3, and nothing. I mean, we're getting little dribs and drabs. We're getting little fun stuff. Nothing about beta. I mean, so that's 5 weeks between when we were going to be doing between E3 and release, and now we are 5 weeks less, and we still don't have any information. Nothing about beta. The release date hasn't changed, thankfully. We're getting little dribs and drabs, but the problem is that we have all this stuff that we're trying to figure out, and unfortunately, we're just not getting the information about Fallout 76 from Bethesda. What we do have, and this is kind of one of those problems about that we see a lot in politics, actually, is when somebody is talking to you and are talking about you rather, and you don't respond, sort of that they go low, we stay high, or we go high kind of thing. That's great advice, except that if their narrative is the only narrative that's coming out, then that's the one that's being heard. That's the one that's being listened to. So the challenge we have here is that the fans, and some of them are incredibly negative about sort of where they see this game franchise going, they're the ones driving the narrative because Bethesda's not talking. So we really need Bethesda to kind of get on the ball here and start actually contributing to the conversation, because right now they're not in charge of it. We, the fans, are, and we're not saying good things about it in a lot of cases. So this is not looking good for Bethesda. I think it's going to suppress some of their Fallout 76 pre-sales. I think it's going to suppress some of their sales when they actually get the game out in November. So I just, I think there might be, I think maybe that they're hoping that by allowing the beta program and then allowing us to stream the beta program, that we're going to be able to see some of these things coming around. Right now, I'm just not seeing that as working in their defense. So I think it's going to be a challenge for them. They're going to have a little bit. What's happening right now is that they're falling behind, and they're going to have to play a much harder game to catch up to where they were, let alone get ahead in the game. We do know some more stuff about Fallout 76 though, which is good. One of them is that we talked about the base system. I do want to show you some stuff though about the base system that I did have some concerns about. We talked about the bases and the fact that they're still tweaking the size, how big they can be, and that kind of stuff. And that Todd Howard was actually slightly incorrect when he spoke, that said that the base sizes that you can have in the game are the ones from the trailers that we saw at E3, because that's not been finalized. That probably is what it is right now. That may not be what it's going to be when they're done. But let me show you the thing about that. So if you, let's say that you have this kind of camp, okay? So you've got this thing and you've laid it out because you're on the corner of a cliff, or on the edge of a cliff, and so you've got all this stuff that's laid out in front of you, and it all overlooks the valley and stuff, and then you've got defenses behind you. But really, what you're counting on is the fact that people can't get up the cliff to get to you, and then so then you've got this kind of, here's your layout, right? So you got a lot of stuff here that's designed to be around the cliff. All right. Now, what if you have that kind of an area? All right. So what they talked about was when you are done with your when your camp exists. There's multiple pieces to this, and I apologize. I'm kind of getting scattered around this. One is there are no servers that you have access to. You can't see the servers, so the servers are going to be random, and they're going to be whatever server you're going to join is whatever server you're going to join. There's no information yet from Bethesda that that's going to be persistent. So in other words, that you're not always going to be logging into USA 1, let's say. You could be logging into USA 1, then USA 12, then USA 7, then USA 2. You could be shifting around through all these different servers. So you may not be playing in the same spaces that you were playing before. That's unclear how that's going to work. Again, not enough information from Bethesda yet. Number two is they've said that when you leave the game, when you come back into the game, it will try to reconstruct your base where you were. So there's two aspects to this. One is it's possible that your bases are persistent and that they stay in the world when you leave. But it's also possible that that's not the case, that when you leave the game and the last person of your party logs out, your whole base is collapsed out into the camp, and then that's it. So that space becomes available for anybody else to build on. Then what happens is when you log back in, it tries to rebuild the base where it was, and if it can't, then it simply gives you the camp box, and then you can move somewhere else and then rebuild it, which gets to the point that I'm raising about the flat area versus the cliff. Because now suddenly the dynamics of the space have completely changed, and you've got all these different. So now, like, what you thought was a completely secured space because of geography is no longer that way, because now you're in a flat area that doesn't have that kind of protection. And so now you've got to rebuild the whole thing. And then, of course, if you go back to the cliff face, then it's all, I mean, just, there's a lot of complexity here. So option one is when you leave the game, it packs everything up, and then you have it. Then you unpack it when you get there. Option two is that the base actually persists, and when you log back in, it just simply you log back into where your base is. If someone comes along and destroys that base while you're doing it, or while you're there, then maybe that could be something where now suddenly it packs up what's left of your base, and then the camp thing, and now you've got to go somewhere else to go try to get it. So there's all of these different aspects to how this whole camp system is going to work that, in my mind, is what's one of the things that we love about Fallout 4. Is the base building aspect. It's the ability to do a whole bunch of different things and kind of get all that stuff set up the way we want to be able to build a space that, number one, that we like from a defensive perspective, that we like from an aesthetic perspective, and that is also going to help us with our attracting settlers and all that kind of stuff. But the other part of this is just that base building is somewhat, meditational. It's kind of just like, something that you can do when you want to do it. It doesn't require that you have, that you spend all this time, working, trying to just lay something down quickly because you just need to do it now because that's what we have time for. So there's a lot of questions, I think, about how that whole dynamic is going to work and the mechanics around that. Unfortunately, like I said, it's been 5 weeks and we've got nothing from Bethesda. And we've only got, 3 months now? 4 months a week ago. So we're down to, just over 3.5 months now before the game is even out. We don't even have a beta yet for us to start playing with. So, again, lots of questions, lots of concerns, and not a lot of time to address them. So, I don't know how much they're planning on on being able to do these things to sort out. So it's just I think it's going to be a bit of a challenge to figure this stuff out. All right, Diamond City. What is that? Oh, that's the. Okay, I know what that is. All right. Obtain the key. That's what I thought. Okay. So let's go see if we can find this. All right. All right. I'm trying to find this guy's key. I don't know where he is. I don't know where this dude is. All right. Hold on. I need to turn off my other quests here because this is... All right. Turn that guy off. Nope. Once again, using the wrong button. It's been... Whoa. Hello. It's been too long. There we go. Okay. So play this game. Okay, there we go. Yes, the only thing I have now are just my 2 quests, 2 things. Okay, so that, yep, is not what I'm looking for. Right, going over here. Cool. All right. So, yeah, so that's the camp and the base building stuff. And like I said, I've got a lot of questions and concerns about just how that's going to work. I think there's a lot of challenges there for that dynamic. The second piece of all this, like I said, is that when you're building things, you know, you have to almost think of yourself that you're going to be like in almost like this space where you're going to have just a lot of flat area. You've got to really defend all the perimeters and then go from there, because I think what do you call it? The problems of not doing that, of expecting there to be defenses and suddenly there aren't, means that if you have to go in and start doing some extra work, you're going to have a lot of extra things. What do you call it? You're going to have a lot of things, add a lot of stuff very quickly from a defensive perspective. And if it's persistent and it's been destroyed, you have to rebuild it and then add the stuff. So there's like I said, there's so many different questions around all this stuff. I just don't know that we have a really good vision into what's going to be happening here. Okay. So here we are. Let's go talk to Vadim.
See this bar? I killed a man for it. No, I kid. He is dead though. Now let me know when you're ready to go.
I like this guy.
Earl Sterling used to work here, right?
Poor Earl. Gone just like that. Such a good bartender. Good friend.
Good friend. Oh, but terrible with women, mind you. Bull in China shop. He's not nearly Russian enough.
I forgot to drop off Earl's key when I hired the people. Here, I hope you find out what happened.
Come on.
Security does nothing but yell at me for asking about it. I got a bar to run. Let me know if you want something.
Da.
So, this your bar?
Damn straight it is. My brother Yefim and I make the best moonshine in the entire Commonwealth. We call it Bobrov's Best. Had to start renting out rooms just so customers had a place to safely pass out after drinking.
Let's see what you got.
Good.
Хорошо. Now, what you got? Brahmin meat. Ooh, I do like me some Brahmin meat. Okay, let's see what we got going on here. Oh, that's never mind then. Okay. Oh, vodka. He has vodka. Of course he has vodka. He's Russian. So it's kind of funny. There's a video online somewhere about Russians are the scariest white people, and the guy's talking and he goes, he goes, I don't care how lost I am. He goes, you know, I could be in desperate straits and I'm running around and I'm completely lost, and I come up to somebody, I'm like, please sir, you have to tell me, but how do I get to the subway? And he goes, subway? Go down the street, turn left. He's like, yeah, you know, I'm just gonna pass. So I gotta laugh. I did take Russian in college. One of my very good friends is Russian. Actually, several of my very good friends are Russian. So it's kind of funny. And one of my Russian friends continuously reminds me, and it's funny because she's this very tall, striking woman with red hair. And she's like, remember, we are the scariest white people. So it's kind of funny. It's like, yes, da. But there's some interesting things about Russian that just don't translate into English very well. Ooh, I will take that, please. Thanks, Earl. Really appreciating the stuff here. Ooh, yeah, well, sure, we'll take all that. Ooh, I need a hot plate. I do need a hot plate. Thank you. Boy, Earl, you wouldn't happen to have been Wanda and Marianne, huh? Marianne and Wanda were the best of friends. Okay, so some Dixie Chicks for you for a Friday plus plus. Ooh, there's a computer. No, it's a television. Never mind. It's just television. An empty paint can, a pompadour wig. What are you doing, Earl? You are a very silly man. That looks like an empty wall and a hole in the wall. Couch. I can sit on the couch. Can I not search the couch? Can I not tumble it for For change? Oh, that's too bad. Cigar box. Nothing in the cabinet. Okay. Ooh, there is a couple of stim packs. You know, it's funny because I hardly ever use stim packs, and I probably should use far more than I do. He has a cigarette machine. It's 3-weight ran. He has a desk fan in his suitcase. Earl, you're a very strange man. Okay. I do not want to sleep in his bed. Okay. I found absolutely nothing here of value. Something tells me we are not looking in the right place. Where should we look? What is the right dress? That is interesting. So, but yeah, it's just I do love me some Ruski. It's pretty funny. My family from way back is from Ukraine. Well, it certainly has a lot of bottles of ale. Radio. A Pilsner. He has ale and Pilsner and pails. And brew. He has a bunch of... oh, hello. He has lots of cigarettes. Okay. I don't think I need cloth. Nothing in the refrigerator. Nothing in the cabinet. There's nothing here. Except the red dress and a pump. Ah ha ha. A surgery receipt. Let's read the surgery receipt. There it is. Mega Surgery Center, reconstruction surgery, facial. Procedure to be performed upon clearance of final payment. Take that. Folder. Oh. This is just folder. It's not important. So, so the other piece about Fallout 76 that we talked about was the PvP and PvE aspects. And obviously this is one of those things where, you know, right now, Fallout is a PvE kind of experience. Player versus environment. It's not co-op, it's not anything else. The problem that we're running into, I think, with Fallout is that, Fallout 4, is that, and Fallout 76 rather, sorry, Fallout 76, is that it's again unclear what's happening with the PvP stuff. Sounds like, based on what we're hearing from Hines, that there is absolutely no way to do just PvE, co-op or anything else. We're stuck. So the only thing that we can do is player versus player, which kind of sucks. Now, here's the one slight silver lining in this very dark cloud for those of us who don't want to play on PvP servers. There's two silver linings. One, the map is huge. You're playing against probably 36 people, between 32 and 36. They talk about dozens, so let's say it's somewhere in the 30 to 36 range. You're only going to be... the chances of running into somebody, I think, are pretty small. The revenge mechanic they talked about being able to take, you know, go on revenge against somebody. Actually, Juicehead does talk about it. It's kind of funny because he says, like, you know, oh, well, there's a bounty on this guy, Preston Garvey, or P. Garvey, for 10 caps if you kill him, and then you kill him and you only get 8 caps. And it's like, well, wait a second, but 8's less than 10. So how did that... and it says 8 plus 10. He goes into the details on it. It's just very strange. It doesn't make any sense. That said, like I said, the chances of running into somebody who is not part of your party are pretty low, except around the community workbenches. Because there are going to be community workbenches, and there are going to be some things going on. My guess is that that's where the griefing is going to happen. I think it's not as likely to be happening around Vault 76. There may actually be some sort of safe zone that they establish, some non-PvP or some sort of non-combat zone around the vault, so you can't just simply, you know, snipe people when they walk out of the door. But I'm guessing the community workshops, unless they set them up to be non-PvP also, are where you're going to have all that griefing. That's where people are going to be waiting for you to make something, and then they're going to follow you out, and as soon as they get outside of range, they're going to take you out and take your stuff. And I think that's going to be the challenge. That's going to be the griefing piece of it. The other silver lining is that you eventually, they're saying, you'll be able to have private servers. At which point, you and your friends can do co-op PvE, right? You get a private server, you keep it to yourselves, and you guys all play yourself. Or you just play it yourself. Don't even bring your friends along. Or you don't have to play with somebody else.
Hey, Doctor.
Let's get you examined right
You
away.
can
Time is not on the side of the surgery.
what do you call it?
Know anything about
You can
Percy?
simply go through about
Dr.
you know,
Crocker's
just
deplorable handwriting.
making it for yourself.
Looks like Earl Sterling was one of his patients.
Yes, he was.
The procedure noted here is mundane, low-risk cosmetic work. Dr. Crocker never performed it, however. Said Earl
Oh
vanished.
no,
before
Earl
he
vanished before you
Now,
paid.
Let's get back to talking about your medical needs.
Where is Doc Crocker?
Last time I saw him, he had to get something out of the surgery. Probably
success
had to wash
kit
some
thing.
needles or move some storage. Anyway, we should get back to your immediate medical requirements.
Yeah, no, we're gonna stick on
Get
this
into
thread.
the cellar, Doctor.
What does this look like? A public outhouse? You know what? Don't answer. Why on earth would I let you down there?
I'm investigating a missing person, Doctor. I think the trail leads to your basement.
A missing person? In our basement? The only thing you'll find down there is cold stone and medical waste. So unless you have something pressing, I have other matters to attend to.
100 caps.
Caps change your mind.
Perhaps? To visit our basement? Well, I guess there wouldn't be any harm.
I've got like 4,000.
Here,
100 caps. Yeah, whatever.
just don't touch anything down there. Understand?
Yeah, okay, not a problem. How many do I have? Inventory. Yeah, I've got 4,200. So I oh, hey, look. Tracks of blood.
Where's blood come from? It goes right into the basement.
Yeah, Interesting, Doc.
Oh, Earl. You've really been a handful, you know. But I think we're just about done. Our little mistake is finally going to be corrected. Oh, naughty, naughty. Here.
What did you do to Earl Sterling, Doctor?
What did I do? I didn't do anything. It was Earl. It was Earl who didn't want to be happy.
What?
Patients get a nice new face. Bad patients
Yes, meow.
bleed all over the floor because they want to screw up their surgeon's
Hush.
life.
So you were performing surgery, and Earl didn't make it. Is that it?
I might have had just a bit of jet before operating. So I nipped a few arteries I shouldn't have. Who hasn't? But I'm a problem solver, you see. I knew if Earl disappeared, everyone would just think the Institute took him.
Why would people think the Institute took Earl Sterling?
Well, I know
That's what
why,
they
but
do.
it's
That's what they've always done. As long as there's no body, everyone just assumes.
assumes.
And that's why Earl's body needs to go away.
No, doctor, you need to go away.
You made a mistake. But you can still do the right thing, Doctor. Just think this through.
You're right. There's one thing I can do. Only one thing is going to make this all better. I can fix anything.
Oh, he's taking jet.
What's going on here?
Okay.
Is that Dr. Crocker?
Why, yes. Yes, it is. Idjit.
Doc,
I think you owe me an explanation. What happened here?
No, I don't know you an explanation.
did you know what Doc Crocker was doing down there?
That's Earl Sterling's body, isn't it?
Yeah.
Somewhere in the back of my mind, I knew he had gone through with the surgery. So, Earl didn't just vanish. The procedure went badly, and Dr. Crocker was just trying to cover it up.
Ding, ding, ding. Give the guy a...
What are you gonna do now, Doctor?
Now,
Yeah.
now, I have a report to file, a mess to clean up, and a lot of explanations to give to our patients.
Yeah.
You should get going. A medical professional should be the one to handle all this contamination.
I think I can probably deal with it. I am in power armor after all, but okay, whatever. It's Surgical scalpel. Alright, let's take a look at Earl's body here. His house key. Don't need that. Yep. Oh, okay. Oops. Ah, never mind. Okay. Alright. All good, Doc. Have fun. Hope you enjoy. Well, that was anticlimactic. Alright. Let's get back to what we were talking about. Oh, hey, look. It's the synthetic truth. The synthetic truth. Noodles, we all eat them. We love them. Diamond City's power noodles have supplied the sustenance for the past 15 years. From the stilted mechanical cadence of Takahashi's programmed Japanese to the fragrant steam that wafts from each bowl to the scalding tang of each delicious mouthful, the ordering and eating of noodles is but one of shared human experiences. Or is it? Acquiring minds. All right. We're reading. Yes, okay, shared experience. This must be the residence of Diamond City, 16 years ago. Yep. So it's very corner. Shots of whiskey. Alright. Okay. Remember done this anti-ghoul decree, but there's one person among us who does. Remember, Eustace Hawthorne recounted her story in a public occurrence exclusive interview. Oh. Okay. Oh, I was there all right, sitting right there at the bar as you're sitting in front of me. 22 years old or so, looking to have a good time. I was safe behind the wall. We all were. What was the harm? Let me tell you, that Mr. Carter made it easy. He came down in town earlier that day, said he was from out west somewhere. It didn't really matter. What mattered was his smile and his laugh and the way he'd make everyone feel at ease. Oh, Pikachu. Okay. That night at the bar, we all just sort of crowded around him. Everyone wanted to exchange a word. Actually, I guess this would be Boston accent. Everyone wanted to exchange a word or hear about the state, of the Commonwealth. And Mr. Carter, he's all too happy to oblige. You know what's sad? I mean, I lived in Boston for, 5-6 years. Never got the accent. Which is also good, because I really didn't want to park the car, So, although it was funny, I did have to eventually do some translations for some people who are not fluent in Bostonese. My aunt came out once, and she was a very thick accent. And then, I found out that she just people couldn't understand her, so I had to sort of translate for some folks. All right, Maximilian. That is enough. Alright, seemed a bit drunk, smiling sort of went from space, and started twitching, and then it just happened like yesterday. Reached out to take a revolver and blam, he shot Henry the barman right in the head. Didn't hesitate. Mr. Carter killed Henry as casually as were paying for him for a drink. But his cheek never did stop twitching. All hell broke loose after that. Describing, of course, the infamous event known as the Broken Mask, when the people of the Commonwealth learned for the first time that the Institute, the shadowy scientific organization responsible for the creation of combat androids, had actually succeeded in creating a model so advanced it could effortlessly infiltrate human society. Unbeknownst to people of Diamond City, the Institute had somehow evolved their androids into true synthetic humans. Since. After he shot Henry, that Mr. Carter shot 3 or 4 other people. Like I said, all hell broke loose. The guards came running, they opened fire, and Mr. Carter, he kept shooting and throwing people around left and right. Finally, those guards put him down. It seemed like they had to kill the man who had flipped his lid, gone crazy. He lay there like a dead crazy man, sure enough. God, it was horrible. But then we saw the plastic and the metal. This is one of those early synths, you see. We realized it wasn't a man at all. And then we all knew. The Institute was everywhere now, among us. It was never determined precisely why the synth and Mr. Carter went on a killing spree. Some suggested he had somehow been remotely controlled by the Institute and wanted to test his combat effectiveness. Still others felt he had been simply malfunctioned. And was never meant to kill anyone, but at the time, why hardly seemed important. What matters, the humans of the Commonwealth had been truly infiltrated by an organization whose intentions and motives were, and still are, a complete mystery, using a model of synth, even less advanced than the ones the Institute has in service today. Which brings us to noodles. Specifically, the noodles consumed by Mayor McDonough last Wednesday night. The same spot that Mr. Carter, the synth, went haywire, where he mercilessly killed several people. After spending hours sharing an experience the people of Diamond City assumed was reserved for members of the human race. They were wrong. Are we? I don't know. You tell me. Alright. So now we gotta go... I guess we gotta go tell Vadim.
Look, Scab, I ain't buying it.
Good, I ain't selling, dick. Alright, talk to Ellie. Okay. Yes, we'll talk to Ellie. Okay. That's what I thought. Okay. Alright. So, getting back to Fallout 76, while we go through, I think the biggest thing from my perspective is trying to make sure that we get some answers around some of these questions that we have. And like I said, with Bethesda not answering these questions right now, we really have no idea, what's going to happen. What is the situation going to be when we do finally get these things? Are we going to have a situation where, we have to have, what do you call it? All right, come on up. Ugh, my cat wants to be part of the stream today. Are we going to have a situation where we have to have private servers to avoid PvP? Or is that going to be something that they're going to be able to turn on and off? Are there going to be some where it's not ever player versus player combat? That's not an option that's available. And I think, like I said, right now, I don't think we have enough information about that. Oh, hold on, Maximilian. Dude, your claws are so incredibly sharp. You're doing a very good job. Yeah, well, yes, you're an excellent cat who takes very good care of your claws. Unfortunately, my bare knee can't handle that. So there you go. Okay. But since we're the ones who are driving the conversation, we do get your tail down. We don't know what options. We're the ones driving the conversation, so we don't know what Bethesda really has planned.
Why was I looking for Earl Sterling again?
Oh,
Well, to help the folks with that, plus a...
all right.
Earl never went anywhere. Got Crocker
Killed
killed
him during a
botched
botched surgery. Oh no. Okay.
Not as long
Yeah,
as he
so,
was, I figured maybe
I mean, really right now I think what has to happen is that Bethesda's really going to have to take
Lying in a cell, I hope.
a more strong,
Killed himself.
a stronger presence in helping drive the narrative. Because right now they're just letting us drive it, and that's not going to help them at all.
I'll send one along.
So,
Let everyone down at the hideout and know what
do you guys have any questions about Fallout 76? Anything that's like, oh my god, what about X, Y, and Z? Or what do you guys think? So, right now, I think the big things for me are, I had my list of 10.
I do.
Marty Bullfinch, okay. I made a video. I'll put it up here. I'll put a link to it up above about my top 8++ concerns for the for Fallout 76. Mostly it's around base building and the camp system. It's around the PvP and the griefing that's going to happen. Like I said, almost guaranteed the griefing is going to happen around the vault door unless they do. Even if they do something. Let's say they put a 1 kilometer radius around the vault door or around community workbenches where you can't attack somebody. Okay, people are just going to wait there anyway for you to show up, to use your stuff, and then leave. And as soon as you get outside that range, they're going to attack you. So I really do. It's almost like spawn camping, but it's not quite that bad. But it's definitely going to be some hardcore challenges to solve. And people might they keep saying, oh, we're going to have this aggression system and all that. I'm like, all right, so that person's a dick. That doesn't help you at all. That person still is going to be outpowered. Is going to be
There's only one person.
overpower you. They're still going to kill you. They're still going to get your stuff. And you're still, now when you apparently dying isn't that big of a deal, which I guess is kind of cool. But I guess what they'd have to really do to help prevent that griefing from happening is get it so that if you kill somebody, you don't get their stuff. So there's really no value in killing somebody. The reason you would kill somebody in the game would be to get the things that they have, the things that they built, the things that they're going to get, the experience points for doing it, all that kind of stuff. If they can make it so that PvP has very low experience points, you can't gain a lot from it, and that you can't get their stuff, that would actually prevent a lot of the griefing. But I don't know that's what they're going to do or not. It's hard to tell. And again, Bethesda's not saying anything. 5 weeks since E3, and really nada. They've done some interviews, they've done some stuff, but really, the first week after E3 is when we almost learned everything. And since then, it's been, just crickets from Bethesda. And the fan base are the ones who are saying, hey, look, here's what we've got, here's what we're concerned about. And, when we have tweets with people like Pete Hines and that kind of stuff, it's like we're not getting sufficient information from them about what's going to be going on with this stuff. Still no beta programs. You know, the release date hasn't changed, which is good, but that's a fixed date. So if you've got November here and you've got June here, we're about here now, and this is not moving. This is compressing, and the window for us to do any kind of beta testing and any kind of a validation of the software before we get into this is just completely, it's evaporating. So I'm a little disappointed that they're taking this the way they are. So I'm not sure what's going to happen with that. So, all right.
Place has a kind of song.
The Marty Bullfinch case. Marty was
All right.
his partner.
Let's listen to Marty Holotape.
He must have been some kind of desperate to come to us for help after all this time.
Marty and I never exactly saw eye to eye. Mostly because he was usually passed out on the barroom floor.
Aw, come on, Nick. Think of the good times.
What? Quit?
Yeah, that's the one I'm thinking of.
Silly. Okay. All right. Let's listen to this holotape and stuff. So, yeah, if there's anything that you guys are interested in, comment or if you're watching right now, just drop a line. What kinds of things do you think are the biggest concerns that you have about Fallout 76? I definitely feel like we've got. Oh,
So
with you.
thirsty. Doctor says I can't drink liquor no more. Cola. Need a Nuka-Cola.
Okay. Yeah.
Sheffield,
So thirsty. Nuka-Cola.
you
Sure.
want a soda? Is that it?
Tell you
not,
Inn
man.
usually has some, but I can't go there. Can't be around booze. Doctor says I can't drink that.
Okay.
Here you go.
There's Nuka-Cola.
Ah, thank you. Thank you.
Ding. Cool. All right. Sweet. Milk.
You there! You need a genuine, authentic, custom-made hickory swatter.
What's a swatter?
Rookie, eh? A swatter, my friend, is a Diamond City tradition.
I do love that
See,
they're
it
they set it
used
up
to be
inside
that
of
this whole
Fenway.
place
It's pretty funny.
was a stadium. And two teams would meet and play a
game
game
called-
called baseball.
Called
One
baseball.
team would beat the other
They
team
would play
to death
baseball.
with these things
Yeah.
called
Duh,
baseball
duh.
bats. And the best bats were called swatters. True fact.
Oh, really? What kind of teams were there?
There was the Diamond City Demolishers, big brutes of guys, played in full power armor with special pneumatic. Then you had the Lexington Ladies, an all-female team with Coach Bloody Mary Sue at the helm. Highest kill count in the league. I could spend all day talking about the Concord Crushers or the Quincy Killmeisters, but you get the idea. It was a hell of a
Quincy. No. Quincy. Quincy. All right. What do I say? Sounds fun, or that's not baseball. Or whatever. Sounds fun.
Bet your socks it was. Now, how about you pick up a little memento in the form of a genuine swatter?
No,
Don't
no,
need
no.
any today.
Fine, get going.
It's like I can finally think straight.
You're welcome.
Hey, Sheffield. What do you think about coming to work for me?
Really? You mean it?
That's right.
Send Sheffield to the castle. Let's get in with some folks. Yeah.
Okay, I'll do it.
This ain't
Awesome.
just any
Good
old
job,
piece of
Sheffield.
hickory. A swatter is a custom piece of hickory.
Our resident. Okay. Coolio. All right.
Protection for sale. Hand-tooled pieces.
I know. I'm watching some guy do it right there. Okay. All right. So, let's see. Other things that we've talked about from Fallout 76 that I think are going to be kind of questionable. Obviously, there's all the monsters and stuff. I think the nukes are obviously still a concern. We've talked about that before. but I think that the question of whether we can get what do you call it? I don't know that much stuff. Okay. Whether we can get warning about that, or whether we're going to have to just suck it up and die. My major concern is going to be when you are somewhere where that gets nuked. Are the nukes going to be only for very specific locations because that's what they're designing them for, or is it going to be anywhere on the map? I think the good thing that they've done with that idea is that they have taken it so that you're not going to be able to, what do you call it? Hold on a second. Where's my brain going? I got distracted for a second. We're talking about nukes and the good thing from that. Don't remember, but we'll get back to that if I remember it. That's really sad. Okay, so but the nukes, I think the one thing that what happens if you're somewhere and it gets nuked? Suddenly you show up and you show up into some city that's been nuked, but you've logged out in the past and you log back in, and now suddenly it's toast. So now suddenly you're in a high level area, but you're not. I guess it's sayonara, sucker. I'm a little concerned about that. And I'm a little concerned that we're not going to have any warning about it. Oh, that's what it was. The thing that I do like about this is that the settlements, the bases that you can build, the camps, are not anywhere near those locations or near the main cities. So you're not going to be able to build in Charleston or in a town anywhere like that stuff so that you can build nearby, but you can't build in them. So I think the benefit there is going to be that we have we're sort of restricting ourselves so that we're not going to be able to, so that you're not going to have your base like in somewhere that's going to get nuked. Yes. Oh, where?
Top Park and the library.
Okay. All right. How long? Sorry, we're talking about Pokemon Go, and there's a raid nearby, and we need to participate in a raid. So.
I can't see the time.
All right, can I see? Yeah. All right, hold on. I may have to go on a top park raid here. Let's see. Let's see how big is this guy. Oh, yeah, we're not gonna. Okay, no, we can't do him. He's just too big.
Same.
Oh, yeah, no, those are level 5 raids. We can't.
All I have is. I just have to.
I know, but we're just not able to do that. I'm sorry. Hopefully we'll get into the raid. We got some field research for Pokemon Go that says that we have to do a raid, and the raids around us are all level 5s, and so it's just the two of us, my wife and I. So we can't do that. So I was like, oh well. Now if I could bring Max with his really sharp little claws, see here he is. He's got sharp claws. If I could bring him, man, he'd shred that Pokemon no problem. But just not going to happen right now. So anyway. So I think, like I said, I think the big thing from my perspective around nuking is, I think it's really cool. I like the idea that the players are going to be able to modify the environment in that way, and I'm hoping that you can only nuke very specific locations, that you can't just nuke anywhere on the map, so that when you're building your base, as long as it's not near anything, that you're not going to lose your base to a nuclear weapon. And that you're less apt to get nuked when you log back in, having you log back into your base and it's not in the middle of a crater. But we'll see about that. So those are some of the concerns that I've got, and I'm really hoping that Bethesda is going to help us. Number one, get access to the beta soon, so that we can start actually playing this, so we can actually start showing the community, here's what this game is like, here's how this game is played, here's what it's like doing this stuff, so that we're not making up all these ideas and trying to figure out, what is it that we're actually doing, because right now there's just no information, and it's the only thing we've got are the trailers still from E3, and this isn't a movie. That's just some sort of passive experience. We've put out some trailer for Star Wars, like, okay, great, well, I'll just wait around 6 months until the movie comes out. This is something that we're actually actively working within. There's a world here that we're helping create, and the community around Fallout is so vibrant and very also very vocal, It's almost, I mean, the fandom around Fallout is pretty rabid. And I will agree with something that Todd Howard said during the E3 interviews, which is, look, you can't make something that's going to please everybody. It's just not possible. And I agree with them 110%. At the same time, it's got to please at least part of the core audience. It's almost like politics, You can't be running for office as a Democrat and say that you want to boost military spending and close the border and lock kids up. I mean, you can't do that. It's just that's not going to resonate with your base, and that's the problem that Bethesda has right now, is that their base is pretty diverse, but there are some pretty big groupings within that base, and those people have some very strong opinions about why they like the game. Why do I like Fallout 4? Because there's all these little side quests. I've spent so much time playing this game just doing the side quests, doing the little things that, you listen, like I just did, like listening to a holotape, or solving someone's disappearance, that kind of stuff. There's a lot of detail and a lot of depth in places in this game. There are some complaints that I've heard from people, and I think they're pretty valid, about sort of that you're sort of stuck into one of these main threads and you have to do those threads. By the same token, if I look at my quests, you can see that I've got all these different things, and I've got, here's one for the railroad, here's one for the Institute, here's one for, that's another one for the Institute, here's another one for the Institute, here's one for the Brotherhood, so I've got all these different quests that I'm running, and I haven't picked a side yet. I've got 3 different factions that are fighting for me to help join them, and I haven't had to pick one yet. So I've been able to play all 3 threads as long as I want to kind of understand as much as I can about each of those 3 threads before I say, okay, fine, here's the path I'm going to take. And even then, it's probably going to be create a save point and then play the Institute and then play the Railroad and then play the Brotherhood of Steel, from those locations to kind of see how this all plays out. Because I'm intrigued about the different victory paths that are available. So, there's depth in that respect, and there's depth in all the side quests. All the other stuff that we're finding about has been really interesting to kind of learn about. So I'm really curious to see the quest system, because they talk about the quests are going to come from the Overseer, which is great, and there's going to be holotapes in the world and that kind of stuff. But how that quest system works, is it... are there certain areas that are sort of locked until you have the right stuff? I mean, it's sort of like, Ready Player One, can you get into that space if you don't have the Jade Key or something, that kind of thing? Or is it that, maybe it's like World of Warcraft, where there's a lot more stuff and people can just kind of like show up and do stuff, and so you show up to somewhere to go do something, like, kill the Deathclaw, and you find that the Deathclaw's already been killed. And you got to wait for the Deathclaw to spawn again. And when does spawning happen? That's not even one I considered. How is that gonna be happening? Because in the game, a lot of these things are happening because the player object contains all the information about the world. The world only exists around your player, so everything outside of that hasn't been generated. So as your player moves through the world, then other parts of the game are generated, and there's things that are happening in the background, like, for instance, Greentop Nursery got attacked, and so I have to go, defend that. But that was something that's sort of like, there's a certain time frame within which you have to do that quest, but it doesn't actually like play the whole game out and say, oh, well, now Greentop Nursery's under attack, and here's where this super mutant is, and here's where this raider is, and here's how they're attacking, and here's how this resident responds. They don't do any of that stuff. They just kind of tell you, if you don't respond in that certain time frame, then you fail the mission. If you do respond, then as soon as you show up, the timer starts for that mission to actually start going through. That's great. What happens in a game that's persistent 24/7? There's no downtime. You're not there, so it doesn't happen. The management of all of the space outside of the game is going to be really interesting, unless they're going to do it the same way they're doing Fallout, but do it with 30-something people all online at the same time, and that could be really interesting. So Anyway, I think we're going to go ahead and end it for now. I really hope you enjoyed watching our Fallout Friday plus edition of Fallout Friday. Lots of stuff to kind of sort through. Wow, I got a moth in here. It's just driving me nuts. Okay, all right. I hope you had a good time. I hope I answered some of your questions. I hope I addressed or at least talked to some of your concerns. If you have any questions about anything, please leave a comment. Please, or chat, that kind of stuff. I just want to know kind of what you guys are thinking. What are your concerns? What are you hoping to get out of the game? What are you afraid that they're going to do or not do? Because like I said, Bethesda isn't saying anything. So, what are our options here? Really appreciate you coming along. If you are on YouTube, please subscribe and then click the little bell icon. That'll get you notifications whenever I post up a new video. I have my schedule is Monday, Wednesday, Friday. We do MechWarrior Monday, where I'm playing BattleTech, the new game from Harebrained Schemes. I'm playing that on PC, the campaign all the way through. So that continues every week. On Wednesdays, we're doing Wayback Wednesday. I'm trying to play Wing Commander right now, the original. Having some serious problems with my control of the fighters, and so I'm going to have to do some practice there. But we're playing the campaign there as well. And then we'll play secret missions on top of that. And then Friday, we alternate between Fallout Friday and FPS Friday. Obviously, until we get more from Fallout, from Bethesda, I'm not sure that there's a whole lot more we can talk about around Fallout, unless you guys have things that you want to discuss. So please leave a comment or that. Please subscribe on YouTube. If you are on Twitch or on Mixer, please click follow. It really helps me. We can start talking about all the Fallout stuff. And first-person shooters, alternate Friday. So next week will be FPS Friday. I don't know what we're going to play. I'll figure that out. Have any recommendations, let me know. But I think until then, Pikachu and I say thank you so much for watching. Hope we've been able to answer some of your Fallout questions and raise some new ones. And I want to hear what you guys have to think. But until then, take care and cheers. We'll see you next time.